Hi, my name is Darrell Cole. Welcome once again. We begin this afternoon from the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi, where this year's Farmers' Day is being commemorated under the theme Planting for Food and Jobs. About 90 farmers are going to be honored today for their immense contribution towards the development of the agricultural sector. And the event is being graced by President Akufo-Addo. In fact, he just delivered a speech at the ceremony. Joining us is Joy News' Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin, who is following events from over there. Nuruddin, let's begin with the President's address to the farmers and the people present. What has he been saying?
Darrell, first of all, the President has just ended his speech and he mentioned some of the policies initiated by this particular government in 2017, and he also mentioned the fact that the government would want to increase food production in 2018. Earlier, we spoke to some of the farmers here, and they also lauded the government on this, initiative, especially the Planting for Food and Jobs project. They also talked about the fact that the government has been able to fight the fall armyworm to a certain extent. So what we are witnessing here is that the farmers, the regional farmers, are now being awarded. You can see from far away the regional farmers are now being awarded. And after this particular awards, we would also witness the national one, and so the program would end after the national one. But I must say that everything here has been good. The Minister for Food and Agriculture also earlier mentioned about the planting for food and jobs. He also mentioned that the government is going to engage about 500,000 farmers in 2018. He mentioned about the budget, which actually put more emphasis on farmers in this country.
Okay, Nuruddin, I know you've been doing a lot of reporting on the agri sector. When you engage farmers, what are their current challenges and what do they hope government would address?
This is Fifi Alpha.
Well, for the challenges, it was only the Minister of Fisheries and Aqua Development who mentioned some of the initiatives that government would want to put in place in 2018. Aside that, the Minister for Agri actually talked about the successes. He admitted that there were challenges during this, just ended farming season, but he actually didn't mention specifically some of the challenges that they are going to fight in 2018, but he admitted that there were challenges in 2017, and he said even though the sector went through those challenges, they were able to achieve a lot. And he believed that if the sector didn't experience such challenges, they would have done better than what they have done now. He actually highlighted the planting for food. Like I mentioned earlier, he highlighted the planting for food and jobs, and that, he said, has been a successful one in the country.
I was actually making reference to the farmers who are on the ground, who know what it takes to till the land. What have they been telling you?
Doris Ahaji. How come?
Darrell, can you come again?
Yes, I just wanted to get from you the perspective of the farmers on the issues they have faced over the years. What would they want tackled for them?
Well, it's about the rain weather pattern. Some of them are telling me that they actually had bad weather this year, and they are expecting that the ministry and government will put in measures to make sure that even if we are going to experience bad weather in 2018, they will be able to manage it. They want government to initiate some policies to fight to be able to curb this kind of situation in 2018. some of them also mentioned the fact that land acquisition is very, very difficult in some of the areas that they farm, and so it has been very difficult for them to take advantage of the planting for food and jobs in their area. So they want government to look at these issues in 2018 and make sure farmlands are being made accessible to them, and also make sure that there will be, better initiative to be able to mitigate the climate change, which is currently happening in the country.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, you have one of the award winners by you. Can we speak to him?
Robert Nate Lamptey.
Well, yeah, excuse me, he is from, you are from, which region are you coming from? He's actually from Central. What's your name?
Asin District. Asin South District.
The best farmer of the Greater Accra region.
And so what actually did you win? Under what category did you win the award?
To the Eastern Region, where I'd like to invite the Eastern Regional Minister, Honorable Eric Kwachi.
All right, he's from the Central Region, and he actually won the regional best farmer. And like the minister said, the Minister of Food and Agriculture said this earlier, that they were going to award regional best farmers, and he is one of them. He won it, and he's from the Central Region.
Do we have any idea who is going to pick up the award for the best farmer for the year? What is the award winner going to take away?
Well, what I can see here is, among the items this particular award winner will be taking is a watering can, and we also have some items here like a sprayer. We have the knapsack as well, and we also have some tin of Cerelac. We have some milk here, we have some Milo, and that is all that I can see for the regional best farmer. I do not know whether there are some other items that they will be given to them later, but this is what I see now, and this is where the regional best farmer from the Central Region is standing.
First runner-up best farmer from the Eastern Region.
All right, Nuruddin Mohammed, they're reporting from Kumasi, where, as you can see, the National Farmers Day event is taking place is under the theme Farming for Food and Jobs. Thanks very much indeed, Nuruddin Mohammed, there following events for us from Kumasi. And well, I have in studio with me, should I say, very important people as far as the agri sector is concerned. Charles Naba of the Peasant Farmers Association and Edward Karaway, Agricultural Workers Union, joining us. What do you have to say about the theme for this year's event, Planting for Food and Jobs? I asked that because there have been diverse concerns about how it is being implemented so far. Who wants to take it? Mr. Karaway?
Well, the theme for this year's celebration, that is Farming for Food and Jobs, is closely similar to that of the whole program, Planting for Food and Jobs. And then it tells us about what the focus of agricultural activity, particularly regarding the Farmers' Day celebration, is. We have had over 33 themes since the program started. And sometimes you wonder whether we achieved the theme before we move to another theme. But it reflects what the government focused to do in 2017 and then 2018.
Okay, and so we've had the president just deliver an address. He's talking about modernizing agri. We've been talking about this so many times over the years. You work with the peasant farmers. You are with the peasant farmers. Modernizing agri, where do we start from?
If you ask my view, representing smallholder farmers in Ghana, modernization in every sector is very important. Let's look at our agriculture strategies and approaches to improve the sector since 1950s, where we're talking about the smallholder farmer. And then in the 1960s, we moved to agriculture modernization, which came with the Green Revolution and then large-scale plantation. We've not been able to address the problems yet. In 1970s came the state-owned agriculture, then structural adjustment in 1980s. 1990, we talk about participation and empowerment. Today, we still talk of agribusiness. So all these approaches and strategies are looking at ways of modernizing the agriculture sector. But the problem still remains. So if the president in his speech talking about modernizing agriculture, I fully support that. But the issue is not about what is in statements or what is in the policy document. We will be interested in seeing in practicality what strategies are put in place to ensure that we actually modernize the sector. Because all these years, if we still have similar problems like we have in 1950s, where farmers are using hoes and cutlasses, farmers are still using sticks to knock their rice and then their soya and then their maize, we think we have a big problem. So if there's any strategy that will make farmers move away from these kind of farming practices to actually modernize the sector, it's a laudable idea.
And I guess one of the issues being raised by people about, especially the Planting for Food and Jobs program, is that it's just dishing out, giving farmers handouts and not, for instance, giving them money to buy some of these things that will cause them to, you know, boost production. Do you share a similar opinion?
Well, the challenge is how to transform the smallholder farmer from dependency to independence. You know, and modernizing agriculture is one of the ways to do so. But the unfortunate thing is that we have lamented about this issue. We have talked about this issue by successive governments. But when it comes to the implementation, there is always a hitch. With the Planting for Food and Jobs, if you look at the scope of it and what is in it, is to provide improved seed and then subsidize fertilizer. That on itself enables the farmer to increase productivity.
Which is nothing new, is it?
Which is nothing new. You know, so if that is what would modernize agriculture, it is left to you and I to know whether, if it's not new, how does it change the status quo? But we seem not to be really ready to.
I'm getting the sense then that we have lost focus when it comes to the agri sector and how to make it where, or put it where it used to be in terms of its contribution to GDP. I get the sense from both of you. Is that what it is, that we have lost focus, you know, when it comes to dealing with the challenges with agri?
Yeah, for me, you see, certain times I say the view of government. Our previous and current government are doing a lot. They are trying their best. They all agree that agriculture is the mover. Agriculture is the change maker. But how to do it becomes a problem. You were talking about government distribution seeds and fertilizer. I think beyond that, there's a component of extension services, which when you talk of agriculture modernization, you cannot do without them. Now let's look at the strategy of engaging extension services under this program. You realize that it's not something that is sustainable. So if you ask of my view, I think that we should move away from a stage where government go around distributing fertilizer, distributing seed, to rather create the environment for the farmers to decide on the commodity that they want to produce. Now let me just give one example. You go to the Middle Belt, from Techima, Nkranza, Kintampo, Atebubu area. That used to be the basket of maize in Ghana. Today, you go there and more than 50% of the farmers who were producing maize now change into producing cashew. Why did they go into cashew production? Because there is a market in cashew. So what we need to do is not to tell farmers that produce this commodity, but we create the environment for farmers to see that when I produce this commodity, I'll get market. When you do that, the farmers themselves are rational. They will tone that line. Now, beyond that, one problem that we continue to have since 1950s, as I mentioned, is access to credit. Today, smallholder farmers are not able to go to bank and take credit because when you go there, they ask for collateral, which you don't have. So All what government need to do is that just create a enabling environment, put a fund somewhere that will guarantee banks that, look, if you give this money to the farmers, we will cater for the risks. When you do that, and then your government sit back and just play that coordinating role, I'm telling you, we'll move from where we are to another level.
Well, as we wrap up, I just want to bring up the issue of access to credit for farmers, because that has also been a major issue. We are seeing banks like ADB now being merged with NIB to create an NDB, and people are now saying that, well, so going forward, it looks like, I mean, we are not having a financial institution that is really tackling the issues with finance for agribusinesses, for farmers. It looks like when it comes to money for farmers, there's no hope.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because, you see, we keep crying that youth are not interested in agriculture. I just completed, I'm a youth. I just completed, it's a statement, I'm not referring to me.
Yes.
I'm a youth. I just completed tertiary institution, I'm looking for a job. They say go into agriculture. The person doesn't have anything. The parents have suffered to pay for the school fees, cater for them for 4 years. You understand? They say go into agriculture. And then you give that person, even if you give the person fertilizer and seed, how is he going to acquire the land? How is he going to till the land? How is he going to do the planting? You understand? Now, that person going to the bank will say, come with collateral. Where is he getting the collateral from? So I'm thinking that access to credit is still a serious problem, especially for women, youth, and the poor. Okay,
so I'll just wrap up with you, Mr. Karewe. You are in the news because you've said that there's nothing to celebrate for Farmers Day. You're saying that we shouldn't have a holiday, not that there's nothing to celebrate. So I'm just going to wrap up with you on why you are saying that don't we have to celebrate our farmers?
Well, it all comes back to the fact that we have been doing the same thing over the years and the effect is not realized. We have been celebrating Farmers Day for 33 years now, and then what is the difference that it has brought about? Now, if you also do it critically, you see that today all of us are home because of the Farmers Day. Then you ask yourself, is that the most important thing for farmers today? That it is a holiday? If you, critically speaking, it is not, because the farmers will wish that the challenges that all of us know, from access to credit, post-harvest losses, and then access to market, those issues are addressed, rather than saying that, please, today is a holiday for you. And in actual fact, hardly would farmers sit at home because you have dedicated today that it is a holiday. Meanwhile, it constitutes a huge cost to the state. And we think that that cost can be rechanneled into supporting agriculture rather than creating a waste. Because who pays for the waste? The cost today. And estimates have it that it's up to over 60 million Ghana cedis is lost in the form of productivity every public holiday that we have. That can be rechanneled into something better. We have moved into a middle income economy. We are seeking to, move higher than this. We can't continue to do things and create waste. These are institutional, institutionally and legally arranged waste that we have put there. We need to transform that. We need to change the institutions to reduce waste. We need to change our individual attitudes to reduce waste so that we can be able to rechannel those resources to the proper usage.
Thank you very much, Edward Karewe of General Agricultural Workers Union. Thanks very much for your time this holiday. Charles Nyaba is with the Peasant Farmers Association. I don't know if I'm right to say Happy Farmers Day to you too, but thanks for joining us in studio for a conversation on the marketplace. Of course, we can't talk about agriculture and leave out technology because that's the way the world is going. Now, Chief Executive of agri-tech company Trotro Tractor, Kamal Yakub, has urged government to leverage technology to boost the Planting for Food and Jobs campaign. Government is putting the focus on the Planting for Food and Jobs policy as the country marks Farmers Day today. The campaign, among others, is expected to address the declining growth of the agricultural sector. Now, Mr. Yakub says technology will bring the much-needed innovation to stimulate growth.
It's an opportunity for us to look in and apply innovation. So, for example, government brings out Planting for Food and Jobs. Planting for Food and Jobs means a lot of production that is going to be increased. And when production increases, you would have a lot of marketing activities. So I would do marketing. If I'm a young man, I would be looking at how to link this higher production from farmers to consumers. And I would be doing that with data. And data means I have to sit down and do some analytics. Analytics means that I have to sit down and code. So that is where technology comes in.
But are you impressed about how far we have used technology? Because the campaign has been going on for a while. Do you see a push in using technology to achieve this purpose?
I think I'm not impressed entirely, but this government is showing a lot of interest in agriculture. So they organized Tech in Agriculture, and for the first time, Tech in Ghana conference last week. And for the first time, I have seen agriculture companies like my own being featured in. And so there is some progress. Yeah.
Okay, but we are not exactly there. What do you think would take more young people like you to venture into agriculture? Because I see there's also a push to get more young people into the sector.
Access to capital, number one. Access to environment that would help young people build businesses that will sustain. For example, if you look at what Cosmos Energy is doing with their Cosmos Innovation Center, that is what gave birth to Trotro Tractor, because they allow you to think outside the box on how to solve problems with using technology in agriculture, and they give you all the necessary support that you need. For example, financial support, technical support, the incubation platform, so you don't have to worry about rent, you don't have to worry about food, you don't want to worry about internet, and focus on bringing technology into agriculture. And so a lot of processes like this, or a lot of activities like this would make young people enter into agriculture and apply technology.
Away from Farmers Day, Newmont Gold Mining Limited remains the #1 company in Ghana according to the Ghana Club 100 rankings by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC. The rankings is an annual compilation of the top 100 companies in Ghana in terms of profitability and asset size, among others. After emerging tops in last year's edition, Newmont maintained this position in this year's awards held last night. Here's more in this report.
The rankings is an annual compilation of the top 100 companies in Ghana in terms of profitability and asset size, among others. This year's awards was held last night to recognize best performing companies in 2016. After emerging tops in last year's edition, Newmont maintained this position. The chief executive of Newmont, Gray Goldberg, spoke to Joy Business about their feat.
The other people that help us to achieve this place, the people on the trucks in the mine, the digger operators, the process people, the service people, our communities around us that help us as well. We're working well together. It is all a nice formula to work and to actually get some, in that way, to get some gold out of the ground in a safe and environmentally and community responsible way. And I'm really proud of the team, the people, the communities, all that makes it work. And with that we'll be able to indeed create wealth for our not only shareholders but stakeholders.
Aside from Newmont, the others that make up the top 5 include MTN Ghana, GOIL, Goldfields and Vivo Energy, popularly known as Shell.
Well, fuel consumers beginning today are insulated from paying a high cost of the commodity at the pump. This is because government has decided to stabilize prices of the petroleum products under its price stabilization mechanism captured in the Energy Sector Levies Act 2015. As a result, all oil marketing companies and LPG marketing companies have been notified by the National Petroleum Authority to review the prices of the products in line with the revised price stabilization and recovery levy. We'll have a conversation around that later today on Business Live. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching The Marketplace.